Hello, hello. So, how do you feel when you are your best rested? How do you perform when you've had an amazing sleep? How do you interact with the people around you? Those are the questions I'd like you to pose to yourself today as we talk about sleep. So, sleep is such an important area of your life. It is when your cells rejuvenate and recover. It's when your brain goes through all its filing and restores and sets away and puts things in their place. So this is such a critical area for your overall health. And yet, what do? We borrow time from our sleep hours in order to get more things done, or we're still busy thinking, or we try to sleep, but then we're not getting our sleep. So we want to address how you can get your best sleep. So I'm going to share my screen here. I made a PowerPoint presentation a while back. I'm going to blitz through that for you with your top tips for getting your best sleep. A lot of which you might know, however, there may be a few nuggets in there that you need to start applying. And the biggest question, the intention I want you to set going into this is, what am I committed to changing? And you might need to take a look at what are the toxic habits that are robbing you from your sleep, and thereby robbing you from your energy, your vitality, your recovery, and your optimal performance in your sport or your training or your work and life. So take those things into account as we go through this. So I'm going to share my screen here. If I can find it, there we go. Okay. So we're going to go through how much you need. Can it influence your weight loss? Do naps really help? How long should they be? And I'm going to skip over heart rate variability on this one because that's an entirely different topic. And then we'll go over a little bit about relaxation and meditation. So we need 8 hours. There is such a tiny percentage of people who can get away with around that 4 to 6 hour realm. And most of us cannot. So we need that magical number of 8 hours. If you are a professional athlete or doing more than one practice or training session a day, or you have a very, very physical type of work, then you're going to need more than 8 hours. You might need around that 10 to 11 hour mark of sleep. So if you are working out less, or you're very sedentary, or you're aging and you're moving far less than you used to, you may be able to get away with a little bit less. So less sleep affects us cellularly and hormonally. You will not recover the way you need to, especially if you're looking at that physical training, you're looking at gaining muscle mass or losing weight. There's all sorts of things. So night sleep is the best. If you're one of the people that I know who are on shift work, this is one of the biggest challenges. And this is what makes all your little sleep hygiene practices so critical. We do feel more awake in the daylight. I'm recording this in a really, really bright, sunny daylight space. So that's going to be the best for me feeling awake. Teenagers are the exception. So when I say this is because their particular cycles and where they are hormonally start to shift probably around the time they're maybe about 14, so that they start wanting to stay up a little later and sleep in a little more. And unfortunately, their school schedule doesn't really work with that. So they're often walking around really, really tired. So the key thing for teenagers is occasionally do let them sleep in, or if you're a teen in sport, sleep in somewhat on the weekends, or make sure you're trying to get to bed early and doing some of those little nap practices that we'll talk about. So when we don't get enough sleep, we affect our hormones. Insulin controls our blood sugar. Leptin controls whether we feel satisfied from our food, so our satiety. Ghrelin is a hormone that tells us when we're hungry. Melatonin influences our body clock or our overall circadian rhythms. And our decision-making declines, comparable to being intoxicated. So there are plenty of studies looking at alcohol and decision-making and reducing sleep and decision-making, and they're comparable to having a few drinks of alcohol. So It's like being intoxicated. So the question here is, can sleep influence your weight loss? Answer is absolutely. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you're less likely to lose weight because your hormones are not optimally functioning or in the right amounts that you need to have your ideal scenario for less stress and being able to lose weight. You get more stress hormone, which is cortisol, when you're not getting enough sleep. You'll feel like you're kind of in this sympathetic nervous system, is what we call in science, and this kind of fight or flight situation when you don't have enough sleep. You'll be feeling kind of this wired energy, or then it flips into the exhausted, you can't even stay awake. So you've got the flip back and forth between those two feelings. And then lastly, in your sleep, going into your sleep hygiene practices, these are the little things that make the huge difference. Your hygiene practices. If you can get into a little routine this way, this will be fantastic for you being able to feel the way you want to feel. So not consuming caffeine, cigarettes, or other stimulants, even decongestants that have things like pseudoephedrine in order to clear sinuses. And that pseudoephedrine makes you wired. It is not conducive for a good sleep. So late in the day, you don't want any of those stimulants that are going to keep you awake. Some people are going to say, oh, I drink caffeine all day and I'm fine. And there are a number of people that are that way, but that depends on whether you have the gene to metabolize caffeine really well. So unless you've gone out and gotten 23andMe or a DNA testing, don't assume that you're a great caffeine metabolizer. And on the flip side of that, you don't want to be consuming too much caffeine because of its adverse effects for your health. A small amount of caffeine in your life isn't going to hurt you. But when there's multiple doses of caffeine, you're looking at that compound effect. If that's something you're doing every day, it's not going to be for your best health. So despite what society programs you to think that this is normal and everybody does it, it's still not a good thing for your health. So don't drink alcohol in the evening. It sedates you at first. A lot of people want to wind up with caffeine in the morning, wind down with alcohol in the evening, not realizing that the alcohol and the processing of the sugars in the alcohol make you wake up later and not have the most restful sleep that you could had you not had the alcohol at all. And the deception comes in that when you drink the glass of wine in the evening, you relax because it's a depressant. You feel a little groggy, you feel a little sleepy, and it feels really good, and then you fall asleep. What you don't realize is that the rest of your sleep isn't as restful because of your body having to metabolize what's going on with the alcohol. And then keeping a regular sleep schedule is really key. If you're going to bed around the same time every night and getting up around the same time every morning is a really, really great habit to be in. It really helps that overall health, and you will feel better. And know all of you have experienced this at some point or another when, because of work, because of sport training, because of schooling or whatever you're in, you're going to find that because of that schedule, you have to go to bed or get up at certain times. And then you find that you feel amazing after a week of doing that, and your body adjusts to it and it feels really good. So exercise regularly. This is critical for sleep. I can't tell you how many people I have heard say that they weren't sleeping well, and then when they got back to their exercise routine or even just walking, they suddenly were able to sleep. So say you're an athlete, you've been training, and then all of a sudden your season stops and you stop working out, you stop doing all the same activities, and then you wonder why you're not sleeping. It can be simply because of the change in activity. Or you're someone who's been injured and you went from doing workouts 3 times a week or even daily, and then suddenly it stops because you can't work out, and guess what happens? Your sleep is affected. So something every day makes a huge, huge difference. But not too late at night, as that adrenaline will impair you being able to shut down and just slow down in falling asleep. So napping is imperative for professional athletes. It is huge for people who are training a lot, and it's also very helpful for people on shift work. However, if you had to go with the rules for napping, you don't want to do it too long. You want to make sure you're staying within one sleep cycle, not getting into another one or getting into too deep of a sleep cycle. And you don't want to do it too late in the afternoon, because that will mess up your circadian rhythm as well. And the other thing that makes a huge difference for your sleep hygiene is actively addressing relaxation. So purposefully taking action to decide and relax. One of the things that I do is when I walk the dogs in their afternoon walk, I purposefully do not bring a podcast, music, anything. I just disconnect, unhook from anything that is stimulating me or being an input into my brain. So actively address. Same thing when I choose to meditate. I try and find a quiet place and spend that time just unplugging. So these are the top tips. Establish the regular routine. So we're just reviewing here. Now, for a lot of my younger athletes and clients, it's not alcohol at night or caffeine at night, it's screen time. So screen time is the big stimulus, and it is firing up our brain in ways, not only with our dopamine responses, but firing up on our brain in ways that make us want to stay awake, and in fact, not just stay awake, but be stimulated. So screens have to be shut off, any of that blue light. Maybe some of you even have the blue light glasses to block the blue light, but shutting off those screens is really, really key prior to bedtime, especially 60 minutes prior to bedtime. A cool room to sleep in is something that majority, over 90% of people find that is their best environment for sleep. So cool, dark as possible, and some people aren't going to want to hear this, but keep the computers and the televisions out of the bedroom. I know that some people have the practice of maybe watching a movie in bed or bringing the computer to bed to get a few more things done. But really, those things for your best sleep hygiene, research shows that having the bedroom as a bedroom and a rest place and having the screens outside of the bedroom is your best bet. Avoid large meals, caffeine, and alcohol close to bedtime. The large meals I haven't addressed yet, and that is something that we simply end up taking too much energy for digestion. We're not as comfortable. Although a small snack, especially if you're an early dinner time eater. So for our family, we tend to eat dinner early around that 5 p.m. mark because we're trying to eat together before kids go off to sports. So we eat so early. By the time 8 p.m. comes or 8:30 p.m., most people in our family are a little bit hungry. So it might be a little bowl of granola or a little yogurt or fruit, or my husband has toast a lot, but a small snack so that you're feeling like you're just before satisfied, but not hungry and not over full. And then practice your relaxation techniques like we just spoke of. Other ones that are really good for sleep are herbal teas, a chamomile, any caffeine teas, a lavender tea. And then also a key practice for me is diffusing essential oils. I start that while I'm doing my bedtime routine and brushing my teeth and getting ready for bed. And then those oils are going into the air. Not only do I have a mental anchor or memory that goes with these are soothing and calming smells that remind me of what time it is, but also the chemical constituents in those oils are relaxing and soothing and also something that will be calming as well. Sleep inducing. I'm going to skip over my schedule, and here is your little nap routine. Okay, this seems like a crazy thing. Would you have a bit of coffee right before your nap? The answer is yes. And the reason is because you would have that caffeine, you'd go for the 20-minute nap. By the time you wake up from that nap, that's when the caffeine is kicking in, and that's when you feel refreshed, amazing, and alert because the caffeine is kicking in, you've had the rest, and away you go. You're not doing a nap more than 30 minutes so that you don't want to be groggy. But if you're truly sleep deprived, maybe you are traveling a lot, plus you're jet lagged, you've missed out on multiple full nights of sleep, then maybe your nap is 1 to 2 hours. And you have to be really sleep deprived in order to have that 1 to 2 hour nap not affect your night's sleep coming up. Otherwise, your naps are going to be around that 30-minute mark. And then you're following all of your sleep hygiene and relaxation tips. I'm not going to go through heart rate variability right now. It's a fantastic tool for recovery, but it's going to be a presentation in and of itself. Here is some technology that I would suggest that you can use to monitor your sleep. It might be a Garmin Vivo Active, or I've got another level. I can't remember what number Garmin this is, but it's a couple levels above a Vivo Active. Fitbits, heart rate monitors. Polar was the original heart rate monitors that people would use as a watch. You've got your more complicated halter devices. But all of these heart rate variability apps will let you know whether you're getting enough of that relaxation and recovery, and part of it is going to come from your sleep. So technology is key. This is a little shot of one night of sleep that is not great for me. Maybe I haven't gotten enough relaxation during the day. I'm still too wound up at night. Maybe I didn't use oils. Maybe I was traveling. These would be all examples of what would give me a sleep like this. 6 hours only 2 hours of deep sleep. I need much more deep sleep. And it was a late night and early wake up, likely a flight on that one. Yeah, traveled the night before, less than 7 hours sleep. And then you can look at an awesome sleep. So this one, over 8 hours, which isn't usual for me. Usually it's around 7.5 hours that I tend to get, but I've got almost 4 hours of deep sleep. That right there is a hallmark of an amazing sleep. I went to bed right around 10. I got up before 6:30. Amazing. Love it. I was at home, normal workday, midweek, ate normally. I'm in a tough training cycle, which would cause a lot of that extra sleep. So instead of 7.5 hours, maybe I need that 8 or 8.5. Nice and cool, emotionally content. My husband was home. That can be a factor as well. So your relaxation, just to cover this one quickly, is it part of your routine? Are you fitting it in? Are you doing the things that can stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system? This is your rest and recovery nervous system. This is the one that you want to make sure you are addressing in order to have not only your best sleeps, but also overall best recoveries. Meditation is a whole topic in and of itself, but it is critical for you to get this relaxation. Spa treatments are great, salt spas, deep breathing, all of that is really key for relaxation. Reading, zoning out, music, all of these things, a bath. I'm not a big bath person, but a lot of people find that's huge. All right. This is the part right here that's critical. This is your addressing where you are right now. If you had to rate your sleep right now on the general, are you a 6 out of 10? Are you an 8 out of 10? Where is your sleep? How would you rate it right now? And if you are at this point in this video, it means that sleep is likely an issue for you. If sleep is a non-issue for you, you would not have stayed this far in this video. So it's not enough to be interested in sleep and getting your best sleeps. You need to be committed to making the necessary changes. So this is where you get really raw and truthful with yourself. What do you need to quit doing? What do you need to quit doing to maximize your energy and vitality through your sleep and recovery? So this means being aware of some of those addictions. Is it late night snacking? Maybe you're having a whole bunch of treats or sweets late, and all that sugar is just making you kind of buzz throughout the night instead of getting a really deep, restful sleep. Are you working on the computer in bed? Are you sleeping with your phone and you've got these notifications that are coming up? Either the phone is lighting up or whatever. Put that sucker on Do Not Disturb. My phone is set that I can't receive a call. I get nothing from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. The only people that can get through is my husband and my kids. They can get through, but no one else can. Okay, so set that Do Not Disturb and get that phone out of your room. Put it to bed somewhere else. Everybody's going to say, oh, I use it as my alarm clock. I've done that too, and I still do that to an extent. But ultimately, if your phone is not complete, if you don't have the discipline to not pick up that thing in the middle of the night or when you're lying in bed, then get it out of your room. Watching TV in bed, is that something for you? Or maybe it's too much TV too late at night. Maybe you have to turn the TV off, put the TV on a timer for 9 p.m. I don't know what it is for you, but you need to identify what it is that you need to give up. What are your addictions that are compromising your best sleep, which is thereby compromising your best health and vitality and your best performance in your sport, in your life, in your career, in your family. So little changes, pick one or two things. If you're going to quit something and it's really tough for you, just stick with that one thing. Don't try to overhaul everything. It's going to be too much too soon. Start with one thing at a time, small changes so you can feel amazing. You're going to get more results from your workouts. Trying to gain muscle mass, it's going to happen. Trying to lose weight, it's going to happen. Your body needs the sleep. You're going to crave less sugar, lose weight more easily, make decisions more quickly, have an increased, robust immune system, and be able to feel stressed less. You'll be in a better emotional state and more efficient at everything that you're doing. So that's where we're going to end off today. Sweet dreams. I know it's bright and light here. If you're watching this in the evening, get off your screen and get ready to go and do your sleep hygiene practices. And good luck with making the small change, because I know you're committed to doing that right now. Pick the thing that you're changing. If this is an area of your life you're committed to improving, because you know it's going to improve your health, your energy, your vitality, your performance. And I know that's what you want.